Hello students, so today in this video we are going to discuss theorem 2, theorem 3 and theorem 4 in limits and derivatives chapter. So let's get started. Before starting theorem 2, can anybody tell me what do you mean by real valued function? Okay, I'll tell you. A function is said to be a real valued function if its range belongs to real numbers. Okay, its range should belong to real numbers. Then the function is said to be real valued function. For example, y is equal to 2x. Okay, if I take x is equal to 1, y is equals to 2 into 1. 2 ones are 2. So we have got here 2 is belonging to real number. While explaining theorem 2, I have told you that a number which can be plotted on the number line is called real number. I have told you, right? So we can plot 2 on the number line. Then 2 belong to real numbers, right? Here x is called domain. Whatever value we take in x, it is called domain. Okay, x values is called domain and y value is called range. Whatever value we take in domain, range should be the range, that is y should belong to real numbers. Okay, if x is equal to minus 1, I am taking x as minus 1, y is equal to 2 into minus 1. 2 plus minus is minus, 2 ones are 2, so minus 2 also belong to real numbers, right? We can plot minus 2 on the number line, right? Here we have minus 1, here we have minus 2, so we can also plot minus 2. So minus 2 belongs to real numbers. Again, if I take x is equal to 0, y is equal to 2 into 0, 2 zeros are 0. 0 also belongs to real number. So whatever value I am taking in domain, range is belonging to real number, right? So this function y is equal to 2x is a real valued function. Okay, so we can write this y is equals to 2x as generally as y is equals to function of independent variable. See, if I am changing x, y is changing, so x is independent variable, right? So I will write function as function of independent variable. So we will write this as f of x. For example, if we have y is equal to 3x, then we will write if we change x, the y will change. Then it is function of independent variable, that is x. Here we have taken function as f. Now change the function, take it as g. So we'll write the function like this: y is equals to f of x, y is equals to g of x, whatever it may be, it should be function of independent variable. Okay, let me give you another example. See, y is equals to minus 1 by 4 x minus 1 square plus 4. Okay, so I have taken this, it is a function of x, right? If I take x is equals to 0 here, x is equals to 0, it will become minus 1 by 4. In place of x, use 0. 0 minus 1 square plus 4 minus 1 by 4. 0 minus 1 is minus 1 square plus 4. Minus square is plus. Minus 1 by 4 plus 4. So we have got minus 1 by 4 plus 4 minus, as it is, multiply 4 4s are 16 divided by 4. 16 minus 1 is 15. 15 by 4. If you simplify it, you are going to get 3.75, which is again a real number. So we can plot 3.575 on number line, right? See, here 0. Here we are going to have 1, 2 and 3. Here 3.5. Here somewhere you are going to have 3.75, right? So you can plot this on number line. So this is a real number. If x is equal to 1, now I am taking x is 1. Okay, if x is equal to 1, we will get 1 minus 1. In place of x, I am putting 1. Okay, plus 4 minus 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 into anything is 0. So 0 plus 4. So 4, which is, we can plot 4 on number line. So here somewhere it will be 4. Okay, so this is again belonging to real number, right? Next, if I am taking x as minus 1, if y is equals to minus 1 by 4 minus 1 square plus 4 minus 1 by 4. Minus 1 is minus 2. square plus 4 minus 1 by 4. Minus square is plus 2. 2 is a 4 plus 1. 4 gets cancelled. So minus 1 into 1 is minus 1 plus 4, right? Minus 1 plus 4 is 3. You have got 3, right? Now I am taking x as x is equal to 2. If x is equal to 2, so it will become y is equals to minus 1 by 4. In place of x, put 2. 2 minus 1 square plus 4. Okay. So 2 minus 1 is 1. 1 into anything, 1 into minus 1 by 4 is minus 1 by 4 plus 4. So we have got the same thing, right? See. So its answer is 3.75 and it again belongs to real numbers, right? Is this a real valued function? Whatever value I am taking in x, range is belonging to real numbers. Whatever value I am taking in domain, range is belonging to real numbers. So this is a real valued function, okay? Now plot its graph, okay? Here we are going to have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Here in y-axis 1, 2, 3, here somewhere 4, right? Okay. Now if I am taking x as 0, we are getting y as 3.75. So here 0 means in y we are getting 3.75. Here somewhere 3.75. Okay. If x is 1, y is 4, right? So here we are going to have 4, right? If x is, here we are having minus 1. If x is minus 1, we are getting y as 3. So here is 3. If x is 2, we are getting 3.75. So here somewhere 3.75. See, we have taken a real valued function and we have plotted a real valued graph of real valued function. Okay. So now you have learned what do you mean by real valued function and how to plot the graph of a real valued function. Okay. Now we will start theorem 2. Okay. So first take x-axis and y-axis. Okay. So this is x-axis, this is y-axis, this is origin, right? So what I am doing is, I am taking a real valued function, generally y is equals to f of x. I have taught you how to write y is equals to f of x, right? Function of x. So I am taking a real valued function and plotting the graph of that real valued function. First the function is increasing and then suddenly it is decreasing. This is how the function looks like. Okay. So I am writing this generally as y is equals to f of x. It is a real valued function. Y is equals to f of x. The graph of this function is first increasing and then decreasing. Okay. Again I am plotting a function which is bigger than y is equals to f of x. Okay. But at some point these two functions are equal. See, at this point. See, and then this function is decreasing. So don't get confused. This is y is equals to f of x and this is y is equals to g of x. Take this as g of x. Okay. G of x is bigger than f of x, but at some point this function is equal. These two functions, these two real valued functions are equal at point A. Left side of A and right side, some points left to A and some points right to A are equal, right? And one more thing is, these two functions should have same domain, with the same domain. That means in place of x, if I take 0, 1, 2, here I should take 0, 1, 2. Okay. If I take 1 minus 1 here, here also 1 minus. So with the same domain means x value should be same. Okay. So how does our function look like? F of x is less than g of x, but at point A these two are equal, right? This is how our function looks like, right? Now if we apply limit to this function, limit x tends to a f of x, limit x tends to a g of x, the function will remain the same. See, f of x is less than or equals to g of x, right? If I apply the limit, the function remains the same. It won't change. This is the meaning of theorem 2. If we apply limit also, it remains the same. It won't change. Okay. This is about theorem 2. This is what the theorem 2 says. Okay. F of x is less than g of x, but at point A these two functions are equal. If we apply limit also, this condition of this function remains the same. It won't change. This is what theorem 2 says. I hope you understood theorem 2. Let's move on to theorem 3. Theorem 3 or sandwich theorem. So why this theorem is called sandwich theorem? Let me explain you why this theorem is called sandwich theorem. Okay. For explaining this theorem, I am considering graph. Okay. So this is x-axis, this is y-axis. Okay. Here I am considering real functions, not real valued functions. I am considering 3 real functions. Real function means x should also, domain should also belong to real numbers, range also belong to real numbers. Okay. X should belong to real number, y should also belong to real number. Then the function is said to be real function. In real valued function, y should only belong to real number, whatever may be x value. In real valued, we consider only y, range should belong to real numbers. But in real functions, domain should also belong to real number, range should also belong to real number. But in real valued, we'll see only range. Range should belong to real numbers. If the range belongs to real number, then the function is said to be real valued function. If domain as well as range belong to real number, then the function is said to be real functions. Okay. So in theorem 3, I am considering 3 real functions, not real valued, real function. I am stressing real value, not real valued, real functions. Real functions. I am taking 3 real functions. Okay. Y is equal, see, first the graph of this function is first increasing and then decreasing. So we will name this as y is equals to f of x. Okay. Now again, same as it is. See, at this point these two functions are equal. Okay. And one more, I am taking 3 functions, right? 3 real functions. So 3 graphs. So this is y is equals to g of x, and one more function is y is equals to h of x. So the function, see how does our function, first I am considering 3 real functions, y is equals to f of x, y is equals to g of x, y is equals to h of x. Okay. And these 3 functions will have a same domain. Okay. With the same domain. For example, if I take 0 1 2 0 1 2 0 1 2 only, here if I take 1 minus 1, here also 1 minus 1, here also 1 minus 1. Okay. I am taking 3 real functions, y is equals to f of x, g of x, h of x, with the same domain. Okay. This is what the condition. Next, how does our function looks like? See, f of x is less than g of x, g of x is again less than h of x, but at some point these 3 functions are equal, so put equal sign. Okay. I hope you understood up to this. Now what I am doing is, I am taking the limit of this function. I am taking the limit of greater function. Here h of x is greater function, right? So I am taking the limit of greater function, that is h of x. If I apply limit to the greater function, the value we are going to get is L. So limit extends to a h of x value is L. Okay. Likewise, I am taking the limit of this function f of x. Limit extends to a f of x is equal to x. When I apply the limit to the lower function, we will get limit value as L. When I apply limit to the greater function, I am getting limit as L. Just I am assuming limit of greater function is L, limit of lesser function, smaller function is also L. I am getting the limit value as L. So if this is the condition, this is the case, limit of greater function is L and limit of lower function is also L, then the limit of this middle function is also L. This is what theorem 3 says. Limit extends to a, g of x is equals to x. Let me explain you once again. First I am taking three real functions, y is equals to f of x, g of x at h of x with the same domain. Our condition is f of x is less than or equals to g of x, which is again less than or equal to h of x. This is what the condition, right? So if I apply limit to the greater function, we are going to get L, okay? If I apply limit to the lower function, I am getting limit as L. So see, these two limits are equal, okay? We are getting the same value. If this was the case, then the limit of this middle function is also L. So why this theorem is called sandwich theorem means this g of x is between these two functions, right? See, how does our sandwich look like? Between two breads we are going to stuff something, right? Likewise, here g of x is between these two functions, that is f of x and g of x. So this theorem is called sandwich theorem. So if we apply limit to the upper function, we will get L. We are getting limit as L. If we apply limit to the lower function, that is f of x, we will get the limit value as L. So we are getting the same limit value. If that's the case, then we will get the middle function limit also as L. So this is the sandwich theorem. Sandwich is like between two breads we are stuffing something. Likewise here g of x is between these two functions. So this theorem is called sandwich theorem. Why? Because g of x is between these two functions like sandwich. So this mathematicians name this theorem as sandwich theorem, okay? So that's for today's video. In the next video we will discuss theorem 4. I hope you understood theorem 2 and theorem 3. By using theorem 3 we are going to prove theorem 4. Thanks for watching.